Thank you so much for being here. Welcome. My name is Anna. I am 32 years old, living in LA with my husband. I will be sharing about my book and planner obsession, about my journey to becoming debt free, and as well as my life as a 9 to 5 corporate healthcare girly. Expect everyday blogs, budgeting wins, and a little bit in between, so stick around. I love collecting books, but reading them, that's a whole nother story, especially because last year, well, technically the last 2 years, I haven't been able to read as much as I want to. Honestly, it wasn't in my priority. I know it's possible to read and be in grad school, but reading was not my priority. However, stop, don't click. I love reading. It's my identity once again. But with that being said, I want to tackle my TBR, my physical TBR for the year of 2025. I have about more than 50 physical books that I have yet to read. However, I know that it's so unrealistic for me to read 50 something books. My reading goal in general is just to read 24 books. So I did make a reading goal of reading 5 of my physical TBR books, but I did choose 10 out of those 50 plus books that I want to read this year. But in reality, I just want to read 5. But I did give me some maneuvering into it. That way I can choose based on mood. So I have 5 extra to choose. So yeah, let's begin. Okay, so let's begin. The first book I have is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And this one is my one of the newest addition to my collection. I got it back in December. It was technically a gift. I got gift cards and money for my birthday and graduation. I did graduate in December. So I went to Barnes& and Noble and I bought this book. I don't know much about it except that it's about dark academia, and I've never read any dark academia books. And I kind of want to make that into my aesthetic. So, no, just kidding. But I'm interested in it. And that's why I want to read it. And the next book is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I have been wanting to get into horror books for so long, but I always chicken out. I just don't go through with it. I don't necessarily know if this is considered horror or a thriller or what is it, but I love the premise of it, the plot, which is all the final girls in a support group. So, and all like the famous final girls like Texas Chainsaw, Scream. I believe Scream is in here. Yeah, The Nightmare on Elm Street. So we shall see if I like this and if it's scary or what is it about. And I also heard that he is a very funny author. He has another one, the Southern Vampires or something like that. So he's also been on my radar as an author to read. The next book is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. Honestly, I just picked this up because of the author. I have heard so much good things about her. She has a fiction book. This is her memoir. Um, the people that I follow on like the bookstagrammers, the booktubers, and the TikTok, yeah, the book TikTokers and book talk have talked about her writing so much, and I feel like I need to experience it. I do know that this has a lot of intense and very triggering topics. I believe it's about domestic violence. So I predict that I will probably have to take breaks from this every once in a while. But this is my top contender of like the 5 books I actually need to read. The next book is How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. I am familiar with her work. I attempted to read Dominicana. I did not finish it, but not because I was not enjoying it. It's because at that moment, I feel like I was in a reading slump and I just never got back to it. But this one is less than 200 pages. So I feel like I can read it in a sitting, which I'll probably do a little challenge of like, can I read this in one weekend? I am a slow reader. I am not going to say in a day because I don't think I will. Next book is The Selfless Act of Breathing by J.J. Bola. I remember this book was kind of popular on Bookstagram for a while. The book, at least the Bookstagrammers I follow, they had like a whole Zoom session with the author, and I know what I know from this book is that it's about mental health, so, or depression and grief, if I remember correctly. I think this one since like 2020 I had it. Let me see, when did it publish? Maybe even 2021 or 2020, 2022, yeah. It was still during the pandemic, so it's been a while. So I need to actually read this. And the cover is actually really pretty, like the blue and the red. So I'm intrigued as to what this book is about. The next book is Catalina by Carla Cornejo Villavicencio. I have read her work before. The Undocumented Americans. It's a nonfiction. It should be a required read. Let me just say that. But this is her fiction work, and I want to read it because I really enjoyed her nonfiction work. And this is also a little bit, I feel like I would probably connect to it on a more personal level because the MC is undocumented, and I used to be undocumented. I literally just got my green card back in September 2024, so it's fresh. And I also heard this is magical realism. I absolutely love magical realism. So it's also in my list, in my top 5 that I need to read this year. And the cover is stunning. Like the color, like the emerald green with like the gold. Beautiful. The next book is Solito by Javier Zamora, and the same thing. I feel like I can connect to it on a personal level because this is a memoir about the journey of Javier crossing over to the United States from El Salvador as a kid alone, given the title Solito. So I know this one will also be, I heard it's very like gut wrenching. So I will have to probably take breaks in between. So I will co-read it with like a lighthearted, like maybe like a funny romance book because I know it will be intense. I already know I'm gonna give this a 5-star for sure. For sure. The next book is You Dream of Empires by Álvaro Enrigue. I can't remember why I got this book or when I got it. Now you see the problem. It's just bye. But um, I do remember that it intrigued me because this book is set on the times of pre-colonization in what used to be back then Tectoctlan, yes, Mexico City now, and actually it's pronounced Tenochtitlan. It's Tenochtitlan, which is what is Mexico City now. And I believe Hernán Cortés is a character here as well as Montezuma, but Hernán Cortés has a translator and a captain, but both the captain or the whole plot, I don't really necessarily know if it's just the captain that thinks this, but they're starting to question whether they will actually be able to colonize um, Mexico City at that time. I'm wondering where this story will take, whether it will show like a Mexico City not colonized by the Spanish. So that's why I was intrigued. And it's like a short read too. It's like about 200 pages, 217 pages. So it's also kind of like a short read. So, and then also part of my bookish goals is to read one international book. And this is a Mexican author, but it was translated into English. So it goes good with my with my reading goals. And then the last 2 books are from the same author, and that is R.F. Kuang, and it is Yellowface and Babel. I believe Babel is also about colonization, decolonization, as well as like, I guess, revolution, rebels. So I am interested in this, and it's also dark academia, and I believe it. I may be wrong, don't quote me, but I think it has magical realism, or is it fantasy? One of those two. I would really hope it's magical realism because I haven't really read fantasy. I can't get into fantasy, but who knows? I may be wrong and it's just dark academia back in whenever this is set. And this is a big boy. It's a big boy. And then last, Yellowface. What I know about this book is that it was very popular and everyone praises R.F. Kuang. I've never read any of her work, so I need to change that this year. But I believe it's about, well, I know it's about a girl that dies and the friend or the acquaintance takes her manuscript and sells it as her. I don't know. I think one of them is white and the other one isn't. That I'm not sure about that detail. I know that the story follows the girl that stole the manuscript. Um, yeah, to see how she's gonna keep up with the lie and like the. I don't know if there's any repercussions, but we'll see. But I really and it's interesting. I heard it's about race. That's why I don't really know if they're different races. But yeah, so it's about racism and cultural appropriation. So I was kind of right. So that is my entire TBR list. Physical TBR is more than 50. I didn't have it in me to actually show all of them because I know I'm not going to finish all of them this year. So I just chose my top 10 contenders. So yeah, what is in your TBR and what book should I start with for March? Let me know. Bye.